You are on a night flight, descending toward the runway. The cabin crew asks you to raise your window shade and dim the overhead lights. It is a standard pre-landing checklist item that you have likely experienced dozens of times without giving it a second thought. These instructions are frequently dismissed as sleep aids or measures to provide passengers with a better view, but neither comfort nor local airport noise regulations dictate this specific protocol. The position of that window shade and the brightness are calculated to manage your physical response if an engine fails during the final 2 minutes of the flight. Every mandatory safety instruction we obey in the cabin is a survival mechanism refined after decades of aviation accidents. On July 11, 1973, Varig Flight 820 was cruising smoothly on its approach to Paris. Inside the rear right lavatory, a lit cigarette was discarded into the waste bin. The embers ignited highly flammable insulation panels hidden behind the walls. The fire produced thick, toxic smoke and carbon monoxide that poured through the vents, rapidly replacing the breathable air in the passenger cabin. The flight crew executed a skilled emergency landing in an onion field short of the runway, bringing the plane down with the fuselage completely intact. 123 people died sitting perfectly in their seats, succumbing to smoke inhalation before the plane even touched the ground. Only 11 people survived. In the aftermath, the FAA mandated that every commercial lavatory feature smoke detectors, fire-retardant waste bins, and automatic extinguishers. While these hardware upgrades were essential, the disaster proved that an intact aircraft cannot save occupants if they cannot be evacuated before the air becomes fatal. For safety investigators, this crash and others like it defined a specific survival threshold. Exactly how much time does a passenger have to escape a burning fuselage? Under FAA Standard AC 25.803, manufacturers must prove a fully loaded plane can be completely evacuated in exactly 90 seconds, even with half the exits blocked. This specific deadline was reinforced by the 1985 British Air Tours crash at Manchester Airport, which provided critical data on how fires consume aircraft. Investigators studied the wreckage to determine how long the cabin remains survivable once fire takes hold. This is the flashover point. At 90 seconds, fire penetrates the aluminum skin, and toxic gases make the interior unsurvivable. Pausing to retrieve luggage or hesitating in the aisle consumes this narrow window, creating a bottleneck that traps everyone standing behind the delay. The 90-second rule is a mathematical certainty that ensures any physical or mental delay during an evacuation will cost lives. This strict time frame is why lighting protocols exist. Airlines use these procedures to account for the speed of human response during a nighttime emergency. Human biology presents a critical bottleneck. It takes the eye up to 10 minutes to fully adapt when moving from bright artificial light into darkness. If a night crash causes an immediate power failure, a brightly lit cabin is plunged into pitch blackness, leaving passengers struck by temporary blindness the moment they hit a dark runway or smoky exit. Dimming the cabin lights and raising the shades forces your pupils to pre-adjust to the ambient outside light before an emergency occurs. By removing the 10-minute adaptation delay, these rules provide the instant vision required to identify exit paths and navigate toward safety within that 90-second survival window. These specific protocols for lighting and evacuation timing are derived from forensic crash data and the physiological requirements of the human eye. Commercial aviation has become the safest mode of transportation in history because investigators obsessively analyze every past failure to remove the element of luck from the equation. Modern safety margins are calculated down to the exact second, accounting for the physical resilience of the aircraft and the speed at which a human can find their way out in the dark. Every mundane airline rule is a life-saving mechanism grounded in history. To see more plain explanations of the systems that run our world, subscribe to Plain English.